Good afternoon, everyone. This is Nithin Ramachandra from the NR Media Show, Sports Show, back with another episode. Happy Wednesday. I hope everyone's having a great day so far. Back with another great episode here. So fans, everybody knows about our speaker app where you can ask questions to all our guests that come on the show. And please tune in, everyone. Please tune in, especially all the Yankee fans, the Cleveland fans, and the Texas fans. Please tune in. We have a former pitcher for you guys on the show today. His name is Nick Goody. He played for the New York Yankees, Cleveland Indians, now the Guardians, and then also he played for the Texas Rangers recently, 3 years ago with the Texas Rangers. What a great career! Now he's going into flight school. But I will ask him about a comeback if he's trying to come back to the league or not. But right now he's busy with flight school. But Nick Goody is joining the show today. Like I said, fans, please tune in, ask questions to him, and like I said, Yankee fans tune in, Cleveland fans, Texas fans, everybody, please tune in. But Nick, thank you for joining us today on short notice. I know you're busy with a lot of stuff going on in your life with flight school. That's amazing. When I hear flight school, and I think that's the toughest job than any other job. But Nick, how are you and your family doing today? Thanks for joining.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having us on. And no, we're doing good. Like I said, we're staying busy. We have a 5-year-old who just turned 5, and we have a 1-year-old who's about to turn 2. So if anybody has kids, you kind of know those are some crazy ages. But no, just staying super busy and just enjoying the moment.
Yeah. So tell our fans how did you get interested in playing baseball? When was the first time you picked up the ball, and what made you get into baseball?
I started playing when I was 4, down here in Orlando, Florida, at Union Park Little League. Started at T-ball. I think my mom and dad just put me in different sports to see which one I liked, and I wasn't too much a fan of soccer with all the running, and I think just baseball just clicked. And I played Little League all the way up until I started playing travel ball, and then high school, and then obviously from there college and professionally.
Well, yeah. So did you get to play any other? So I always like to ask this question to baseball players, and so obviously before becoming a pitcher, did you get to play any other positions when you were younger? And then also, did you ever think of maybe being like a Shohei Ohtani type of player?
Yeah, actually, I didn't really start pitching until I dabbled a little my freshman year of college, but then my sophomore year is when I actually started like being a full-time pitcher. So I was a shortstop coming up, and I caught a little bit too, but mostly shortstop, third base, all the way through high school. And then I signed in my Manatee Community College, or it's called State College of Florida now, down in Bradenton. I signed there as like a two-way guy, but mostly as a shortstop. And then had a rough go at it there my freshman year, and then our head coach wanted to put me on the mound, and I hated it. Didn't want to convert. Tried everything I could not to convert. Obviously, that's the way he's the coach. You listen to him, and I ended up becoming a pitcher, and I'm very, very grateful for that.
Yes, and speaking of, was that a tough transition for you? Obviously becoming a hitter and switching to pitching, and obviously you were a shortstop, so I think that must have been an easy transition. But how long did it take you to transition from the field to the mound?
I think my freshman year in junior college, I threw maybe 19 innings, so not too many. But once my sophomore year rolled around, then I was a starter. It was really, I mean, aside from like me pressing against it and not wanting to pitch, it was actually a pretty smooth transition. I mean, I had pretty good results, you know, immediately. And I remember one game I hit like 92, and I told the coach, I was like, "Hey, all right, I'm good. I don't need to play the field anymore. If I can just."
Uh-oh, something happened here. I think the connection issues. Sorry, some technical difficulties right now here. Well, we'll wait till he comes back. But what are you guys' thoughts on the MLB draft this week that happened? It's just finished. Now we're getting all the free agent signings. with the undrafted prospects. What are your thoughts on the draft? I felt it was a great draft, and plus we just freshened off from the All-Star break, All-Star game, home run derby. The All-Star game was amazing yesterday. So here he comes, Nick Goody. All right, let's see.
All right, my bad, dude.
Oh, I think.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, my bad on that.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, you were talking about the transition from shortstop to pitcher. I think. Yeah.
So I moved my to full time pitching my sophomore year at junior college, and I was a starter there. I ended up throwing I think 84 innings or something, over 80 innings, and I had pretty good success. Got drafted, so then I kind of knew that I kind of knew I was going to be a pitcher then at that point with my career, and then um, LSU I was pressing them to let me swing the bat as well, but
Yeah.
they kind of just to they signed me to be the closer there, and I mean, you're closing at LSU. It's a pretty sweet gig. So uh, I was like, all right, I think pitching is where, if I'm going to make it to where I want to go in my career, then I think pitching's the best route.
Yeah, and speaking of pitching, and obviously you were a closer that year, but there in your sophomore you started, and you had some great numbers too, 6-2, and with the 1.29 ERA. So talk about that from the transition from the bullpen to the starter, and especially being a closer, and then and then now being a starter, pitching multiple innings from pitching only like maybe two or one.
Yeah. Um, my freshman year I was obviously a reliever, and then just transitioning. I guess I kind of started transitioning in the summer league. I played in the Florida Collegiate Summer League, so that's where I really started building up my pitch count and I guess refining my pitches. I might even have a changeup at that point. It was just fastball slider, which ultimately that's what I ended up having throughout my career. But I remember working on my changeup in the summer league with Clint Chrysler was my coach and awesome guy. And I remember the first changeup I threw like sailed over the backstop, and I was like, oof, and he like, but you know, it going from there, building up my workload in the summer league, and then coming into my sophomore year, I had more. In the fall they were starting to stretch me out. Now when we're playing the fall games, and then in the spring. So yeah, it definitely you definitely feel a difference the next day going from 1 to 2 innings to throwing 5, 6, and 120 pitches. So I remember the next day after I started, I felt like I got hit by a train. I felt like I was 90, rolling out of bed, like, I need Advil, give me some Advil. And I'm like 19, it
Wow.
was crazy.
Yeah, that's yeah, and obviously, speaking of and after your college career and all, you speaking of the draft and take us to the draft. We just finished. Obviously, this year's draft just finished like yesterday. So take us to that. Spending time with your family, friends, tell our friends. You got selected in the 22nd round by the New York Yankees, historic franchise, and with the historic players, historic his history. So talk about that. And once you got your name called from the Yankees, what went through your mind, and what was the call like with Brian Cashman and the rest of the front office?
Yeah. So I guess you have an advisor, and so my advisor really, I guess, Asian advisors. I don't know what you can say nowadays, but
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. And he handled most of the calls at that point. So I didn't actually speak to them the first time around. Um, but yeah, didn't think it was going to be the Yankees. I grew up a Braves and Red Sox fan, so when I got the call from New York, I was like, okay, this is cool. Um, yeah, and it was great, man. I mean, obviously, I thought I had I thought I was going to go a little bit higher than the 22nd round, as everybody should hope to be a first, second, rounder. Um, Ended up dropping to the 22nd round, and uh, which was fine. I mean, they gave me a nice little deal, and you know, but I think I had a lot more maturing to do on the mound,
Mhm.
and I'd always wanted to play in a big time school, and LSU Uh, I don't know if there's definitely not a better school to play baseball, in my opinion, than LSU. The fans are unreal. And I knew that I was going to progress as a person. I was going to mature as a person on and off the field and as well as a pitcher. And that time I went up to the Northwoods League. So I was in the Northwoods League whenever I got the call the first time. And, you know, obviously it's a great moment. It's what you work for. Extremely excited. And we were in Duluth. So I didn't really have a chance to spend it with my family and do all that because I was playing summer ball. But the LSU pitching coach at the time, Alan Dunn, flew up like a couple days later when they kind of knew that I was like kind of teetering. And we had a great conversation. And ultimately, I left that meeting at a hotel, and I told him, I was like, dude, I'm going to school. Like, I made my mind up that night.
Wow.
And obviously, I mean, for me, I think that was the best decision I made.
Yeah, and speaking of LSU, before we go back to the Yankees, LSU won the championship this year, and what an incredible run! And they got two players got drafted back to back, 1 and 2, Paul Skynes and Drew. What was the other guy's name? I keep forgetting.
Paul
Yeah,
Cruz.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, so they got drafted 1 and 2 back to back. And what was it like, obviously being part of that team, and what was it like seeing them winning the championship this year? And obviously it's hard to win the championship, but seeing that team with a talented roster, and what was that like seeing that as for you, especially being part of LSU?
Oh man, it was awesome. We're down here in Florida, so we're surrounded by Florida fans. So, you know, I'm the only LSU Tiger in my neighborhood, and it's nice to be able to trash talk all the Florida fans. My neighbor's a huge Florida fan. My family likes Florida, which
Oh,
I
wow.
don't. But yeah, no, it was great. I ended up I watched the series. I got time to watch it, and I remember when they were in Game 3, I was flying around, and I had my instructor have I guess ladies, one of the people sitting in the back seat had the game on whenever they could and was giving me updates while we were flying. So, no, man, that's what I'm super pumped for the program. Obviously, it's been a long time coming, and we've had multiple chances to win it. And it was really, really nice to see him take it over Florida for sure. So we were celebrating. We had some happy LSU fans in our house.
Yeah, go Tigers. Hey,
Tigers.
that was historic run in my opinion, and congrats to them. And now you got to see Paul Skynes and his teammate get drafted, and I feel like they're still going to be talented after the players they lost. But the LSU's heading into the LSU in general athletic program is with football and baseball, and now you got basketball, LSU women's basketball that won the championship. So I feel like LSU is heading back to
Our house.
yeah. Um,
Yeah.
so tell our fans about the Yankees transition, and we have a couple of fan questions also we'll get to, but talk about going into the Yankees minor league system, and obviously you had a tough road too. You had Tommy John surgery, and but talk about that, like getting situated in the Yankees minor league system with Charleston and in the South Atlantic League, and then recover, and then going through the rehab process when it came to Tommy John.
Yeah. So okay. So we signed. Drove down to Tampa, signed my papers. Um, Spent like a day or two in Tampa getting acclimated a little bit. And then immediately they shipped me up to Staten Island, which was short season, which was I believe now it's the Indie Ball league. But went to Staten Island. That was my first taste of professional baseball. So stayed in a hotel, rode the bus to the field, and I was in New York, and the stadium was great. You guys, my Spanish started getting a little bit better. Obviously, you have a
Wow.
lot of Latin and stuff, and learning their culture and stuff. Um, so then I spent about a week there, and they up to short season or low A, which was in Charleston, South Carolina, and same type of thing. You get pulled up to a new team, and you have to learn the guys and all that, and how you gel and mesh, and I guess anybody that gets called up, they play pranks on. So I had a couple pranks on me, and which I guess in the moment I was pretty heated, but it's water under the bridge. But um, and then I spent about a month there in Charleston and got called up to high A.
Wow.
Uh, so like within 3 months, I was on three different teams, and you know, uh, I was like, I felt good. I was like, put me up in New York. I'm ready to roll. Uh, ended the year in high A. Went to instruct, so like my whole season of baseball from started in college and then went all the way into September. Had a little bit of an off season, and then I got invited to big league spring training, so big league camp, my first spring training, and really went down there with the mindset of like making the team. That's everybody should go down there with, and get to spring training. Everything's feeling good. My wife's birthday is the 14th, I think, February 20th, and I come up for her birthday. It's the first birthday I've made since high school, and we're sitting at like a light, and a car just slams into the back of us, and then we hit the car front. So I ended up getting into a car accident. I rolled my ankle right before I was supposed to pitch on like Sunday or Monday is when spring training started, the first game, and my ankles just swell up like a balloon. And long story short, that pretty much set me back the entire spring training. I got to pitch the last game of spring training against the Orioles, and I had like a brace on my ankle and all that. And I started feeling something in my elbow. Thing I put up, I had a good inning, and they were playing their regular guys because it's the last game of spring training. So some of the guys were still in there, and broke camp, went to high A, and then what I felt my elbow just wasn't going away, and ultimately, obviously, like you said, I had Tommy John surgery, and the recovery from that was, I think I was off the mound again about 10 or 11 months, but it was a grind, man. It was definitely a grind, but yeah, I think it gave me a chance to kind of slow down and reevaluate where I was at. Really, really focus on my arm care and like take care of my body as a whole. Because when I came back from Tommy John, I was throwing harder, and I've always had to play with a chip on my shoulder, but I think that the chip weighed a little more after Tommy John surgery, because now I feel like that's like you're battle tested at that point.
Wow. Yeah, that's a crazy story. And thanks for sharing that too. And but to before we get to some of the fan questions, you're gonna like this. So you used to pitch for the Trent Thunder and Scranton. So we cover Scranton, we cover Somerset, we also cover Trenton, but Trenton is in a different league now. It's called the MLB Draft League, if you know about that. So they're part of that league, and but we cover all three teams, and you're gonna like this here real quick. I gotta show you something. This is the Trent Thunder. I don't know if you can see it. Media Pass right there.
Yep.
And then you got the Somerset one.
Okay. Right
Yeah.
on. I know, but I know about it.
Yeah. So speaking of Trent Thunder, you got called up there. You played for Trent Thunder also. But what was that like moving through the system of the Yankees, learning each team and learning new teammates along the way? So my question is, tell our fans, what was that like just to learn that, and then eventually moving to Trent Thunder and then going to AAA before going to the Yankees?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, it's just like you're going from, I don't know how I can compare it, going from one job to another, or like if you get promoted, you're working with other people. That's just pretty much what it was. I mean, same team aspect. We're all working for the same goal. Everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to, make it to the big leagues. That's something that they instill in you in New York is, obviously you're playing for yourself, right? But at the same time, they instill that winning is such a huge factor. And that's why the New York Yankees have had success, throughout. But playing in Trenton was good. I got my butt whooped my first time I went there at the end of 2014. Absolutely got wrecked by those hitters. And then
took the off season. That was my first season back from Tommy John too. So I expected more out of myself, but obviously, you know, I mean, like I think I matured because I understood like, all right, it's been a full year nonstop, and I kind of just tired out at the end. Um, and then my second year going back there, we had a core established team. Our team was unreal. I mean, all the guys that you see in the big leagues now were all on my team and Trenton, and we all came up together. And I mean, we just slaughtered teams. And then slowly the guys started getting called up to AAA, and then you get new players come in. And then finally, I had gotten the call up to AAA. And at that point, you know, you're just a phone call away. Somebody gets hurt or something happens, you know, paternity leave, whatever, you're a phone call away. And so that's when it's really like you can start to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, yeah, and so now that we have a couple of fan questions here, and from one of our friends, Julian. He has a podcast also with his friend Sandy. It's called Dugout Station. You should definitely check their page out. I'll send it to you, and you should definitely go on their show. It's all about baseball. And my friend Julian wants to know some of your highlights of your career, and then thoughts on the Yankees organization, and then also toughest hitters you faced.
Highlights of my career. I mean, obviously, the big one's getting drafted. Collegiately, we won the SEC, which was pretty cool. Went to the JUCO World Series with my junior college team, which was really awesome. People out at Grand Junction are amazing. Then, like I said, the draft is the big one. My first major league spring training camp was awesome. I was with, you know, Mo and Jeter and Andy Pettit and all these guys that, you know, you grow up watching, you know, rubbing elbows with them. It's, you know, CC Sabathia, like just big name guys and awesome dudes. Really taught me a lot. And then, you know, my debut. So I debuted in Texas. Crazy debut story. I was on like, they called me up when I was, they called me up and the team was in Minnesota. I go up to Minnesota. I have my family up there. We're beating the Twins like 7-1 or 8-1. And I'm like, all right, I'm going in. And they call for Betanzas to get hot and put Betanzas in. Everybody's just like, didn't make sense. You know, didn't make sense. That should have been me. If it's a blowout game like that, we're winning. And so I actually got sent down. I got an option without even pitching. So I flew back to, we're in Lehigh. I flew back to Lehigh. And then the team went to Texas. And Michael Pineda had some forearm issue. So then they called me right back up. Long story short, I was on like 9 flights in like 7 days, just bouncing back. Finally got to pitch in Texas in like the 1,000-degree heat in the outdoor stadium, and came into a tie ball game, which, you know, but I'm like, okay, 8-1, it's all the same, I guess. So came into a tie ball game, ended up facing Trino, so I ended up striking him out, and that was you know, it's another highlight. And then probably we went to the postseason that year. That was pretty awesome. And then when I got traded to Cleveland, you know, I had my first win, holds, and then we went on, I think it was 2017. Was it 17 or 8? That was 17. 2017, we went on a 22-game win streak, and that was like the most craziest thing, man. It was like we just showed up to the field and we knew we were going to win, like every time. It didn't even. And then when we ended up losing, I remember walking across the field and like looking up at the stadium, and all the fans were still there. They were clapping. It was like, it gives me goosebumps now, but it was such a cool experience to see, and definitely be a part of that.
Yeah, and the other question from him was, what are your thoughts on the Yankees organization, and then also toughest hitters you faced?
I love the Yankees organization, man. They fill their organization with good dudes, top to bottom. I can't say enough good things about them. Even the scout that drafted me, I still talk to him every now and then. But yeah, just good quality dudes, and they know what they're talking about. They obviously have the resources there to make their players the best. And that's why you see a ton of guys come up to the organization and might not necessarily stay in New York, but you see them being, top dogs and other teams. So they know how to develop guys throughout. And they do a really good job of that. Their pitching development is next level. I think a lot of teams are going to start basing their program around New York, or at least when I was played for the Nationals, I spent a month in the national organization. I was trying to tell them, this is how it was. This is how they did it in New York. This is what I think can bring success to your organization as well. And not trying to be a douche about it, but I was just like, there's a reason why New York is here, and aside from money, but but no, they're top down, hands down one of the best organizations, and they know how to develop their guys. And then as far as toughest hitters, man, I had a struggle getting out Melky Cabrera. Couldn't get him out, man. I don't know. I threw him everything. Dude just hit everything. And he ended up playing with me in Cleveland, and I used to mess with him about it. But he was one. Nelson Cruz was another one. I don't know what my number against him, but I know he hammered me pretty well. Trout's got me, but I've gotten Trout. I always thought obviously he's a really good hitter, but I never I don't know. I mean, he's just hit some screamers off of me, but I always thought Melky Cabrera, and everybody asked me this question. I always say Melky Cabrera because I remember vividly an at bat against him where I was bouncing balls and he was fouling them off, and I'm like, I didn't know what to do at that point. You're kind of just but yeah, there's some good guys.
Wow. Yeah, speaking of Dellin, we actually when we were covering the Trent Thunder game, July 5th, it was the prospect game, all-star game for the draft league. He was actually calling the game that day. So I actually got to meet him for the first time. And Dellin, man, he's so tall in person. I told him he's but that was his first broadcast call. And I asked him if he's trying to come back. He said not right now because he's focused. Yeah, he told me he hasn't picked up a ball in a while. He's focused on. He has three kids now, and he's focused on his family. So, but he said he can see himself come back as a coach one day. So I'm going to ask you this: do you see yourself maybe coming back as a player? I know you're trying to get into flight school, but would you be interested in coming back as a player or maybe like a coach someday?
Yeah, that's funny. Dellen's awesome, man. He's helped me out a ton in New York. I actually just do a bullpen today. So down in I got a Mexican citizenship, so I'm throwing, staying in shape just in case I want to play in the Pan Am games coming up, just to go out, have some fun, and I think they're in October or November, but just doing that, and then obviously I have the flight school going on, and then I've worked some camps at UCF, where I live next to University of Central Florida, and I've done some camps there and found I actually enjoy coaching, and the players there, pick my brain, and which I encourage them. They were calling me and telling me during the draft, and I'm excited for those guys. I like seeing good people succeed, so as far as coaching, I plan on going back to LSU, getting my degree online, and then because you have to have a degree to coach collegiately, and maybe we'll see what happens down the road. Right now, I'm focused on it's pretty common actually. Guys want to focus on their family because you're gone so much during the season. So right now, I'm focused on my family, the flight school, and then once LSU starts online, I'll be doing that, and then I'm hoping to be able to kind of stay around at least UCF while we're here, and help out there whenever I can, if they even if they even need it. But the new head coach there is a really good guy. So we'll see.
Hey, we would love to have you back on the Yankees. That'd be awesome.
Tell them, and I'm still in contact with them. Like you
Oh
guys
yeah,
need me. You guys need me.
you're in contact. Who do you stay in contact with usually with the Yankees?
Well, it's more of the player development. So like, he's head head of pitching, like a pitching coordinator, Sam Breen.
Hmm.
And I always text him. I talk to Nestor Cortez every now and then. We played
Let's
AAA
go.
together. Talked to Judge not too long ago.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, the team has changed a lot, since I've been there. But yeah, I always talk crap to him, and I would love to, I think the coolest job in the world would be like a bullpen coach. And that's what I told him. I was like, you want me to come back? Like, all right, I'll pitch for you, but you want me to come and coach? Like,
Mike Harkey. Mike Harkey.
Yeah, love Harkey. I love Harkey.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be some big shoes to fill if he ever were to want to do something else, literally and figuratively, because he's a
he's a
man.
massive. He's like Dallin Patansis 2.0.
Yeah. And here, let me tell you, man, he is awesome. Great guy.
Yeah. I'll tell you another great story. We actually, you know how the Yankees do the Hope Week every
Yep.
year. So we did last week. We were able to do be with it's called what do you call the New Jersey Jackals Stadium up all the way up in Jersey, and we did a event there with Hope Week for the Yankees with the kids and the youth. Nestor Cortez was there. Jose Trevino was there. Mike Harkey was there. Travis Chapman, the first base coach for the Yankees, was there. So we had the opportunity to help them out. And I forgot to do. I was going to do an interview with the players, but they were busy, so I didn't want to bother them. So I ended up interviewing Travis Chapman, the Yankees first base coach, and it's an honor. It was an honor to be there, helping them out with Hope Week. And for you, what's that like, just to see a team to have like a signature name for themselves and help, especially helping out the youth. Is all about the youth now, and making kids' lives better and making their day. And what's that like, seeing that, especially being a part of a team like the Yankees?
It's great, man. It's really, I wish more teams would do something like that. In today's society, it's so crazy. So it's really nice to see, an organization like New York help out, the youth. I remember being a part of a bunch of Hope Weeks, and it's great. The kids are awesome. They want to be there. They love. Maybe not all of them love the Yankees, but that's all right, because we're there to teach them and help them and do whatever that is that they need to do. And yeah, I really, really, that's something that, like, my mom always told me, like, give me, you get a lot, make sure you give back. So it was nice to see that the Yankees were actually, they give back to their community and to their fans. And it's a special thing to be a part of. And I know for sure it impacts a lot of people's lives, a lot of children.
Yeah. So before we let you go, I got two more things for you. We'll take one more fan question here. This is a funny one. One of our fans is a big Yankee fan. Also, they want to know, since you reached out to Judge recently, they want to know if you have any insight on his injury and when he will come back.
I don't have any insight. I hope he has a speedy recovery. I don't have any. I couldn't tell you one way or the other, but knowing Judge, yeah, he's gonna push it. So, he's unbelievable teammate. One of my favorite teammates, and I know he's doing everything he can to get back on the field as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that.
That's okay. You're good. One more thing. I want to talk about your flight school and tell our fans what's that been like for you transitioning. Obviously, you're still in the baseball trying and still pitching, but talk about going into a different. I feel like flying a plane is the toughest job. But for you, what's that been like for you being in the school learning and obviously a lot of risk to it. But what's that been like for you though?
Yeah, so originally I got into it. I started studying the ground school in 2021 while I was in spring training with New York, and because I wanted to buy my own plane, be able to fly where I wanted to go, and all that. And baseball took a different route, and so I had still interest in being able to do that. The career is incredible, whether you want to fly corporate or commercial, and it would allow me to be home more and all that. But as far as the flight school, I'm attending L3 Harris. It's in Sanford, and that is a top notch school. Um, you know, it is a lot of work. It was my first time going back to the classroom in 10 or I don't know 2012. So yeah, about 10 years, and you know, you go from having your own kind of schedule to all right, you got to be here at from 8 to 3, and I'm in ground school, and then learning the airplane and learning the systems, and then switching airplanes and switching, and it's definitely like you're being fed through a fire hose. Uh, it's definitely a lot, but I think it's extremely rewarding. Um, you know, I I got my private pilot's license within I think 3 months or 4 months, or I think 3 months, and then I got my instrument rating on top of that within another 2 months, and I just got my commercial license last month, and now I'm working on my multi-engine. So in about a year, if you plan it out right, and we're in Florida, you can you see it's cloudy and thunderstorms pop up all over, but if you can plan it right and the weather cooperates, you can get all the way through being a certified flying instructor in a year, and then you have to start building your hours. Um, it's a little, I guess it's good. They say athletes make great pilots because you're used to making tiny adjustments, working under pressure, and all that. And I remember going in for my first check ride with the FAA, and I was like, I told them like, dude, this is like, and I was like, man, this is almost as bad as pitching in front of 50,000. I actually feel more comfortable throwing in front of 50,000 I do flying for one. The stakes are high. I feel like the stakes are higher flying, and I think that's why I like it so much, because one slip up and you could be in a bad situation quick. So you have to be on top of your game. And for me, it was just another way to not be one dimensional in my life. I want my kids to grow up, and I want them to be like, man, dad did all these cool things, and not look back and just be like, he did this, and that was it. I don't want to be defined. I want to continue to challenge myself,
Yeah.
mentally, physically, and this was something that's definitely doing both for sure.
Yeah. And you have an amazing story, and like I said, thanks for coming on the show today to share it. And I know you're a busy man, and before we let you go, our team is part of this foundation. It's called the Hugh Jackson Foundation. He's a former NFL coach. Now he's a coach at Grambling State University, and we're trying to help him prevent human trafficking, making sure the community stays safe and the kids stay off the streets and everything. And a lot of things, horrible things happening. So we're trying to prevent human trafficking. So we'll send you the foundation so you and your family can check it out.
Yeah, man, great. And then check out the new movie, Sound of Freedom.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a real issue, man. It's a
Yeah.
real issue. Some much as the mainstream media doesn't want to say about it, but it's a real issue, and I know there's some guys in that former major leaguers that are doing their part too to kind of.
And, then where can our fans find you on social media?
I'm pretty much just on Instagram now. I go on Twitter every now and then, but I don't even. I don't know. Let me look up my Instagram handle here. I don't even know what it is.
Instagram is Nick Goody. Wait, Nick.
41.
Yeah,
And Goody.
there you go.
That's it. That's where I'll be.
And then Twitter, your Twitter.
There, so.
If our fans want your Twitter is I have it wait, Nick Goody.
It's underscore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's underscore Goody. I think
41.
Yeah, 41 or something. The guys at LSU made that for me 10 years ago. They thought it was clever. So
Yeah. Well, there you have it, fans. Nick Goody, MLB pitcher in flight school right now. possibly making a comeback. We don't know, but we'll see. But Nick Goody, thanks for joining the show today. Truly an honor. Thank you, and keep up the great work, and enjoy your day with your family, and good luck with the flight school, man.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me on, and anytime, man. It was great talking to you. Good luck with the rest of your thing. God
Well,
bless.
thank you so much. Thank you.
See ya.